Good morning, my name is Sean. I'm with Elite Turf. I'm out at a customer's property where they happen to hire a non-licensed bonded and insured contractor. We've been doing this over 17 years, and we see a lot of this stuff going on in the industry today. We're gonna redo his putting green. They actually did a pretty good job. There's a lot of small details that we're missing considering what a customer pays for a nice putting green like this. For example, right here, we don't have enough quarter miners or decomposed granite down. We have a tripping hazard here. So grass should come up level with the grade, because right now we don't want to be tripping on our concrete. As we start moving along on the concrete border, looks like they use pavers. And the pavers are typically cut. Each individual paver's cut, so it creates a nice free-flowing line. Also, these pavers were never concreted in. That's a no-no. It's a tripping hazard also. Poor cuts, poor angles. It's not conducive for a nice, expensive putting green that you're looking to, or the quality that you're really looking to get out of a good company. As we're moving along this way, you can see there are some heavy seams here. We want to butt these seams up stitch row to make sure that we have seamless production. We don't want to see seams, because in real life, we also don't see seams in grass. So why would we want to see seams on a putting green, right? So as we move along, there's multiple seams here. In nature, we don't see perfect right angles. We like free flowing. We have these right angles here again, and we have a huge dip in elevation here. So we're way down here now. The putting green's up here. Now, if we want to put our balls here, we want to do some chipping action where we're chipping up on the putting green. You drop your ball here, the ball is going to continue to roll down. Not conducive for practice. Doesn't make sense. So we're going to take this and we're going to bring this elevation up, and we're going to change it so that way we have a nice chipping area to chip up on the approach on the greens. Moving along, there's still quite a few seams that we see noticeable. Here's a big one we see with novice installers. You can see it looks like airplane rivets. There's dents here, and these are all nail heads. And what happens is when you put a nail, you're actually gonna wanna split the fibers, and you're gonna wanna get down to the backing, and then you wanna put your nail in, and then you're gonna power broom it afterwards, and then you're gonna get rid of those divots. This is looks like a quick rushed job. They're in here hammering nails, hitting it too hard. And when that happens also, it damages the base work, and it goes into a concave mode. What that does is it creates the fibers start smashing like this. We get what they call a mohawk effect. And the mohawk are lines as well as the seams that don't really contribute to a aesthetically pleasing artificial grass or putting green installation. Moving along, as you can tell, the putting greens are supposed to be concreted or mortared into place so they're permanent. And they're supposed to be about an 1/8 inch below grade for the putting green. Right now, if we were to put a ball here, the ball's gonna stop. It's gonna hit the edge. So I don't know how you're gonna get the ball in the hole if you can't do that. And obviously, it really wasn't done correctly. Some other things to be aware of as you're moving along. We found some interesting anomalies here in the putting green. This could be one of two things. In my opinion, this was mice, gophers, moles, some kind of animal environment that is tunneling underneath, pulling the thatch down in order to get some nesting material. A lot of times people don't inform their customers of how to take care of their yard, and they don't talk to their landscapers. Their landscapers come out with backpack blowers, hedge trimmers, whatever, and as they're working, they take it off and they set it down to do something, and a lot of the nice 2-cycle motors, the exhaust port is pointing straight down. So when that exhaust port points down, it's plastic. It's polypropylene, polyethylene. The exhaust port melts circles, melts holes in the turf. So this, in my opinion, is rodents. But we see a lot of this when it comes to landscapers leaving hot equipment on the turf, and it melts it. Moving along, once again, we have this elevation change that comes all the way down here. So when a ball rolls, the ball continues to roll and rolls right off down into the rocks, moving back into the non-concreted border. And we transitioned from a Belgard paver, 6x9, over to a Holland brick, which is like a 4x8. So there's no really way to keep this looking all the same uniformity. Well, moving along here again, still some really bad cuts. Lack of nails, hasn't been secured or pinned properly. It's been pinned about 3 to 4 inches off the corner, which once again, if this wasn't here, we did a natural edge, you're gonna have a big tripping hazard here. And this is another way these rodents can get into the air and start bedding and nesting. Moving on a couple more feet. In nature, or in nice putting greens or nice golf courses, everything's a free flow, everything's a nice curvature. We don't really see right angles in real life. Everything's a free flow or a curvature. This cut was basically rushed. They cut it, they rushed it, and now we have this astute like 90-degree angle here, off, 60-degree angle here that doesn't look natural to the flow of a typical putting green. Coming along here, now we have an elevation change from low to high. So as the ball rolls up and you putt a longer putt here, the ball is going to slant this way or slant this way. So when we make undulations or we make breaks, it's got to be plateaued. So as it comes up, we want to come up at an elevation and flatten out. That way, if you get the ball up at the right speed, up to that plateau, it remains up there. There's nothing worse than having a really good putt, having it close, and then having it roll all the way back down. Some people like that. This isn't miniature golf. This is real golf. We like to keep this professional and looking good. Moving along, now we've moved back from our Holland pavers over back to our Bellegarde pavers. Completely different size, completely different style. And when customers are expecting a nice border or a project, customers are paying for uniformity and a good luxurious look. And it looks like whoever installed this pretty much used whatever they had in the back of their truck, in the back of their house. They wanted to charge a customer for a professional job, but they wanted to use materials. So moving a little bit farther along, there's no uniformity to the fringe. Usually when we're doing a fringe, we have some open areas for some chipping, but this goes from about 10 foot of fringe down to about 3 foot of fringe on this side, back to about 4 feet of fringe, back to about 18 inches, and then down to 4 inches. So as we're creating our fringe lines, we try to keep some uniformity of about 18 or more inches of fringe. This way, when the ball rolls down, again, the ball's rolling back downhill here, and it's gonna hit the fringe, hit the pavers, and go over the top, and then we're not on the putting green anymore. And finally, as we keep moving forward, once again, moving to the Bellegarde pavers. The pavers are low, not brought up to grade, and they should be meeting up nice and perfectly here. So there's no tripping hazard, no toe stubbing, anything going on like that. And last but not least, when we cut our fringe and we cut it long, it's got to fit flush up to here. Right now what they've done is they cut it long, and instead of being nice and straight, it's bent in, and it just creates just not a professional putting green. So overall, as we look at this, we're gonna come back, we're gonna demo all this out, we're gonna verify that we have no mice, no rodents, and make sure the exterminator does his job correctly. And then we're gonna bring in probably another 6 to 10 tons of decomposed granite. We're gonna compact it to about 10,000 PSI, and we're gonna create some nice flat elevation changes, some nice undulations, some nice left-right breaks. And the reason for the elevation changes is that way we have a uphill putt, downhill putt, and we also have an uphill left, uphill right, downhill left, downhill right. That way, anywhere you stand on your putting green, you have a scenario to where you would get in real life when you're golfing. Other than that, we're gonna change out the border. We'll talk to the customer and see if they wanna do a natural edge, whereas in the rock meets into a nice elevated change putting green or fringe, or if we're going to do a new paver border, bringing everything up to be more uniform. Typically, when we talk to customers about rock, about borders, about putting greens, about grass, usually when we talk to customers, we talk about kids, dogs, and if a golfer is a professional golfer, we actually do a nice natural edge. But if homeowners have dogs or kids, typically when the dogs are running around, they have a tendency to kick the rocks and the dirt into the putting green. So the border protects that from getting the rock infiltration into the putting green. Depending on the speed you want your ball, it's called stem speed. Typical ball speed rolls at about an 8 to 9. On your high-end golf courses, we roll about a 10 or 11. And we accomplish this by adding or retracting the silica infill on this, so we can make a ball roll faster or slower depending on how you're a putter, what you like, what your favorite golf course is. A lot of times customers say, hey, I have a hole at Greyhawk number 9 that I really want to replicate. We'll go out there with a drone, some cameras, take some photos, and we can replicate that hole with sand traps, with water features, and basically overall finishing up, giving the customer exactly what they paid for, which is a high quality, high productive install where they can enjoy for a long time. We're gonna wrap up and we're going to get this torn out, and we're gonna see you back when we come back to do the new install. I'm Sean with Elite Turf. Have an amazing day.